Hey, ambitious dentist, welcome to Start Your Dental Practice, the show for existing and aspiring dentists to take your dental practice to the highest possible level. I'm your host, Jonathan Van Horn, CPA and ABV, founder of dentistmetrics.com.
For many dental practice owners, running a practice is often a lifelong dream. Despite the thousands of hours of education and hard work, there's no better feeling than knowing you help your patients ultimately live a better life. But as we know, the journey to running a practice is filled with both ups and downs, and you don't always get to hear about everything that goes into making a dream, which is why I'm so excited to share today's incredibly inspiring interview with Dr. Ashley Joves. After many years of an associateship that left Dr. Ashley wanting more, she recently started her very own practice and has quickly seen some very incredible success. And her story is one of the most inspiring I've heard in a while. And in our interview, she shares openly about the many things that she's learned from running a practice over the last few months. So here are a few things you're going to learn. How a simple social media post went viral and helped her quickly build her brand and create a loyal following. Why Dr. Ashley gives each patient an office and her tips to creating a trusting office atmosphere. Dr. Ashley's approach to doing dentistry differently and how it has helped her stand out. Why Dr. Ashley recommends all aspiring dentists create a startup business plan, how Dr. Ashley has managed to grow her practice while still making time for her family, and much, much more. So whether you're just starting out on your dental practice journey or you've been around for a while, I know you're going to find our conversation both incredibly inspiring and informative. Now, here's my interview with Dr. Ashley Joves. Today, I am super excited about who we have on the podcast today. It's very, very rare that you get a chance to hear from a dentist who is just a few days into practice ownership, nonetheless be able to look back multiple months prior and see their journey to practice ownership. And that is who we have with us today. We have today Dr. Ashley Joves, and Dr. Ashley has been documenting her journey to practice ownership through social media, and has just been a pleasure to be able to watch her finding the right spot, coming in, doing the design, and building this amazing, beautiful dental practice. And again, I have been following Dr. Ashley for a couple of years now. She had connected with me, and she said hi, and we kind of passed along some emails along the way. And so that's how I got turned on to be able to see her journey. And it has been just a true inspiration, and you need to go check out her stuff. So Dr. Ashley, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you so much, Jonathan, for having me. It's truly an honor to be here because when I first started listening to podcasts, which was in 2015, yours was actually one of the very first ones that I listened to. And it was a conversation that you had with Jamie Amos about when do you know if you're ready to be a practice owner? And Jamie said, well, you know when you look in the mirror and you tell yourself it's time. And that was pretty much the start of my journey. So thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. I feel humbled that I was a small part of your journey. And I'm going to see Jamie this week at a conference I'm speaking at with him. And I'm going to share that with him. And I'm sure he's going to think the exact same thing. So, you are doing things in a bit of a contrarian way. You shared some of the numbers with me earlier. And if you listen to the experts in this industry, they'll say you've got to have this really high population to dentist ratio. And you shared with me that you actually did it, your startup, in an area that has like 600 or 700 to 1 population to dentist ratio, which is really, really low compared to other places. And you've done a lot of that through social media. And I want to get into all of that. But first, I want to hear your story. I want to hear where you graduated from dental school, how long ago it was, and then lead us up until how you decided to look in the mirror and say, okay, it is time for me to go ahead and pursue this dream.
Awesome. Well, so I graduated from NYU College of Dentistry in 2009. And following that, I did a GPR at Abington Memorial Hospital just outside of Philadelphia. And I remember my first job, I was moonlighting, so it was the tail end of my residency, and I had picked up this position as an associate at this beautiful practice, and I saw everything through rose-colored glasses at that point, and I thought, well, it's a beautiful practice, so that means it's going to be a great, ethical, high quality, like patient-centered practice. And long story short, I quickly realized that, it was a mill and patients weren't treated very well and things were exaggerated, so to speak, on the treatment plan. And I left that practice shortly thereafter. It wasn't the right place for me. And honestly, I felt a little bit defeated because I had just finished like this amazing time at NYU, and I had the best attendings at my residency of doing really great quality treatment plans for these patients. And that wasn't what I found right out of the gate. So I looked at a few different practices. I worked in practices that were on the opposite spectrum, where it was a 30-year-old practice. The patients were, they grew up there. The dentist was amazing, but he also didn't know his numbers. So he could barely pay overhead. He would constantly call to cancel my days or hours. And, I thought that, well, there has to be a medium. There has to be a way to produce an amazing experience, to provide quality, top-notch care for your patients, but also to know your numbers and make it a business model. So I'm in a unique situation where I had to follow my husband around for his medical school training, then residency, then fellowship. So even though I wanted practice ownership right from the beginning, I didn't necessarily know where we were going to end up. And I wasn't about to tell a dentist that I wanted to buy in if I didn't know for certain where our future was going to be. So my husband is now done with his training, and we decided to move back home to Folsom, California. So we are just 30 minutes outside of Sacramento. And many people thought that I was crazy about wanting to do a startup in a very saturated market. I think I'm a little crazy sometimes too, but okay, maybe more than sometimes. But I pretty much did everything opposite of what convention tells you. They tell you don't do a startup in a competitive market if your numbers aren't 3,000 to 1. And they tell you don't necessarily build a practice if, in the community that you live in, if you can travel an hour and a half and then go home to your family at the end of the day, like go where you're needed. I don't agree with that. I think that if you have a service that you can differentiate yourself amongst a competitive field, if you are bringing something, special or just unique, to our industry, I believe that you are allowing people to find you, people who are going to value that experience over what your insurance is going to cover. And I also believe that if you're a startup, the best place for you to grow your practice is in your community. Mm-hmm. So why are you commuting an hour and a half each way to serve a population that you aren't going to be there for soccer games, or you're not going to be able to meet people in your church or the grocery stores? I plan on raising my kids. I have 2 young boys. They're ages 2 and 4. I plan on raising them here in Folsom. This is where we go to church. This is where I know they're going to start jujitsu pretty soon. This is where our family is going to watch their soccer games and football games. And I think that it's important for a dentist, especially a startup, for you to get your face out there, and so that people know you, know who you are on a personal level, and not someone just that they see twice a year and they don't buy into what you're selling. So I'm definitely doing things outside of the norm, but I was able to get my story out on social media just by happenstance, actually. Like it all was a very serendipitous turn of events. I left my associateship and it was my last day, and I was just, quite honestly, I was feeling down because I had graduated 8 years ago and I still wasn't in my dream practice. I still was in an associateship that I, wasn't happy in, and the team members weren't happy in. So, I made a video on Facebook, and I basically announced to the world that I was finally going to do something that I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I didn't think anybody would really watch it. I thought maybe my husband and a few close family members and friends. And within a few hours, I had, 200 comments on my feed, and it was shared multiple times. And it's just a true testament of the power of social media and the power of being real and vulnerable and just connecting with people on a more personal level. So that's my journey, and our doors opened on Thursday, September 7th. And before we had even opened, I had 53 appointments scheduled. I've had over 1,100 people liking and following my Facebook page. And then I've been invited on your podcast, which is so amazing. And, I feel like I am in a fairy tale. I really do.
Well, you spoke about all the good that you're doing in that community, and I 100% agree. A lot of people nowadays, they really want to just write a check and hope that patients come in. And that is, they'll pay somebody for mailers, they'll pay somebody for online stuff. They don't put the work in, which just doesn't work in today's relationship-based marketing. I mean, it works to get some patients in some of the time, but what you're doing is really building a lasting connection between your potential patients and hopefully someday patients that will last a lot longer than just who is going to be able to give me the service for the smallest amount of money right now. And just as a testament to that, I want to read one of the reviews that you have on your Facebook page. I mean, you've got again, you've been open for 17 days at this point. This is September 25th that we're recording this, and you have 126 Facebook reviews already. Now, 126 in 17 days. I know people that have been open for since the dawn of time, and they have almost no Facebook reviews. So you're killing it there. So here's the review, and I won't mention the person's name. It's Smiling Company does not disappoint. I stumbled upon their Facebook page and quickly became a fan of Dr. Ashley's enthusiasm and philosophy for dentistry differently. Every detail is thought out and executed with care. I enjoyed the small touches that Dr. Ashley and her staff incorporated, from their warm, welcoming, and relaxing lavender to the complimentary beverage and the most comfortable furniture and everything in between. By far my best experience in a dental office. If you're looking for someone who will meet you where you are and take the time to get to know you and respect your level of care, Smiling Company should be your first choice. And your Facebook reviews are littered with things like this. So what you're doing is obviously resonating with people and is doing things differently. We talked about competition, and you're really setting yourself apart from the competition by doing things like this. And I feel like this is like the new way of doing dentistry. It's the new way of running businesses in general. I run a dental accounting firm, so dental CPA firm, which is a different way to do CPA services. And we focus a lot on, customer service and providing great value and all these other things. And, there's a lot of other firms out there that don't focus on those things. They focus on saying, hey, we're going to return your tax returns. We're going to prepare your tax returns. And you guys are doing the same thing in dentistry of saying, hey, we're going to be in relationships with our patients. We're going to enjoy those relationships, and we're going to be a part of the community. And, Smiling Company is much the community as it is a dental practice, which is awesome. And so you're doing a great job.
Thank you so much. Yeah, when I wrote my business plan, I spent a lot of time on the business plan, and I know that you've talked about financing and everything like that on multiple episodes, and I just want to encourage anyone who is interested in doing a startup to really write down what your plan is, because a lot of these banks are not requiring them because they know that we're dentists and the default rate is pretty low. So they're pretty excited about giving us money. But not just for the banks, but for you and your trajectory as a startup. I would strongly encourage that. And it was a way for me to really think about what I was going to do differently. And that is where my tagline came from, the dentistry differently. And if you guys are not following my journey, basically I created this business plan based around a whole wine bar themed dental office. So we don't serve wine during office hours, but I am 45 minutes away from some of the most amazing vineyards. And I'm also an hour and a half away from Napa and Sonoma. And I thought, well, how can I merge my love of wine and food and community with something that patients don't want to do, which is go see the dentist. So I created the business plan, which is where we're going to have events outside of normal business hours where they can come in, meet me, see our space, ask me about any dental concerns that they're having. And it's not in an intimidating fashion because I am a very casual person. Like, I don't even believe in wearing white coats. And I made that known. Like, this is a place where I literally meet you at the table. So when the patient first comes in, we actually give them an office tour right away, and then we invite them to sit in our consult room where we serve them, beverages, and I take the time and I meet them at the table because I think that there's something to be said about first impressions. And every time that I walk in to meet a patient for the first time, while they already have the patient napkin on, sometimes they're even lying back in the dental chair. I think that that's already setting a barrier up with that patient-dentist relationship, and I didn't want that. So I just made different tweaks of how I would want to be treated if I were a guest at a 5-star resort, and that's what I came up with. And a great resource, if you guys are interested, is liveplan.com, liveplan.com. It's amazing. And they basically hold your hand and ask you questions about, where to start. Because writing a business plan, similar to starting a practice, is a very daunting task. But if you break it up into modules, it really simplifies the whole process. So check them out.
Yeah.
And I'm not being sponsored by them.
No, yeah, LifePlan's great.
Oh, you're familiar?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, I am.
That's awesome.
It's weird. It's somewhat rare that people, that financing requires like a full-on business plan nowadays. But when someone does need one done, that's who we refer them to, just because it's, we don't.
Oh, awesome.
We don't specialize in that. I mean, we could do it, but so many items in that are personal in nature that we say,
right.
We can tell you basically what numbers go where, but everything else has to come from your dome. So yeah, and you've done some great PR with your practice already. I saw you be interviewed by your Good Morning Sacramento or something like that, and you've been on you've been on TV multiple times. I mean, how did you get all those things to happen? Was that springboarded from all the activity you get on your social media, or what?
So you have to think outside the box. And in today's marketing world, influencer marketing is huge. Mm-hmm. So I haven't done the traditional route of sending mailers to people's homes, because I personally, whenever I see a mailer, I actually throw it away. Mm-hmm. And mailers are not the cheapest thing. So what I decided to do is I decided to reach out to local influencers in this community. And so people who have a couple thousand followers on Instagram or Facebook. And one of the influencers who I reached out to, he messaged me right back, and I basically told him, like, this is what I'm doing here in Folsom. I've been following you, and I think it would be amazing if we could help each other out, because health and oral health go hand in hand. So we talked, and he asked me, like, keep in mind, I do not know this person. We never met. Mm-hmm. And so he called me, and he basically, I told him my spiel again, and he said, that's amazing. I think what you're doing is totally awesome for thinking outside the box. And then he asked me, what are you doing for television? Like, where are you at with that? And I said, honestly, I don't have any connections. So nothing for television. So within 5 minutes, Jonathan, he had me on a group text message with one of the anchors from Good Day Sacramento. And yeah, so she reached out and she said, you won't believe your timing because tomorrow is National Tooth Fairy Day. Are you in? And I, like, my jaw dropped. Jaw dropped. And I know it's so amazing, the timing of everything. And in my head, I'm already making excuses for why I shouldn't be on TV because it's the next day. Who's going to watch my boys? Like, that's not enough time. My place is a construction zone. And literally right before I was about to message why I couldn't do it the next day, I had the guy calling me on the other line, and he basically said, if you turn this down, I am never helping you again. He said, I put my neck out there for you, so you better step up. So then I said, I know, okay, I'm going to step up. And at 5 a.m, I was here in my dental office. I had the construction crew cleaning up. It was a mad dash before the cameras were here, and the fireplace that was featured literally got installed 10 minutes before they walked in the door. So when you have an opportunity to do anything, jump on it. Don't even think. Like, just do it, and then figure it out later. So it's just been a serendipitous turn of events. Like I tell you, I feel very blessed to be involved in this community, and I am so grateful for the platform. So I've heard of many people, contact their news people, like the newspapers and magazines. I would strongly recommend that. That's something next on my radar. And just getting out there, going to schools, and now that it's Halloween, volunteer to do oral hygiene instructions to kids' classrooms, and then do the candy buyback program. So there's so much that we can do as a dentist to really put our name out there.
You really can. And, all those media outlets, everyone assumes like they've just got tons and tons and tons of content to be able to put out there. But to be honest with you guys, content providers are always searching for content. And if you can make their life easy, they're going to love you. And so, if you reach out to them and offer some help, it's going to be a win-win. You'll be able to give them content, and they'll be able to, turn people towards your brand. And like you said, if your thing worked out where the fireplace wasn't ready, you could have easily written that off and said, hey, we are constructing, we're opening in 2 weeks, and by the way, we're accepting new patients. And but about the Tooth Fairy Day, we're really excited about it because blah blah blah, or whatever you wanted to do, So you gotta make the reality you want to live in the reality that you're in. So great message. So speaking of content, how do you, because I struggle with this personally, and so I'd love to hear from your mind, how do you decide what to share on social media? Because you've done such a fantastic job of it. I wanted to hear that part.
Hey, ambitious dentists, I wanted to share a very special message from today's SYDP podcast sponsor, Gusto.com. As a CPA and accountant who has worked with hundreds of dentists and small businesses across the country, there's a handful of common issues I see hold so many dentists and small businesses back. Now, one is obviously bookkeeping, and another is managing payroll. Look, whether you're an aspiring dental practice, business owner, or you've had multiple years of business and practice ownership under your belt, managing payroll for your business is just one of those things you'll always have to do. Now, you know that I'm all about using every tool and resource that you can so that you can focus on what you do best, dentistry. Fortunately, there's a payroll tool that helps you do exactly that, and that tool is Gusto.com. Now, Gusto, it helps you process your payroll easily, efficiently, and best of all, it won't break the bank. Now, at the time of this episode in fall of 2017, you can get top quality payroll management for your practice for just $39 a month plus $6 per employee.
I've seen some other solutions go for double, triple, quadruple, quintuple that amount and not even deliver half the value or be as easy to use. It's honestly one of the best payroll softwares I've ever used. And what I like about Augusto is it specifically helps ensure that you don't make those silly do-it-yourself bookkeeping mistakes that cost you money and time. You don't know how many times I've had clients, put in incorrect payroll deductions because their software allowed them to just kind of run it themselves. They have, advances that get stuck into a payroll journal entry and it keeps going month after month. And then the tax return's all messed up. And there's so many little pieces, missed payroll deposits, missed payroll report submissions to the government. And for the price of less than the cheapest dental marketing software that you can have Gusto.com manage your payroll and save you countless headaches. So as a SYDP listener, I don't recommend services or products often because of my incredibly high standards. In fact, with almost 100 episodes on the books, I can count on my two hands how many products and services I've recommended to you guys, which is why I can happily recommend Gusto as a solution to all of your payroll needs. Now, as a sponsor of the show, I've negotiated a deal with Gusto.com to get you 3 full months for free for your dental practice. Yep, 3 free months. Of course, it's a no-risk trial that you can cancel anytime. But I'm confident after giving them a try, you won't want to use anything else. Seriously, it's just that good. So to start your free trial, just go to gusto.com/dentistmetrics for your free trial for an easy-to-use, efficient payroll solution. Tell them Jonathan Van Horn from Dentist Metrics sent you. And now back to the interview. And again, that's gusto.com/dentistmetrics, METRICS.
Thank you so much. So I am a huge Gary Vee fan. I don't know if you listen to Gary Vaynerchuk, but he he basically talks about documenting instead of creating. So when you think that you have to create something interesting, that's where writer's block comes in. But if you're actually documenting the story behind the brand, people can resonate with that. People want to know the story. And I think that's where Smile & Co. Set its brand apart from other dental offices, because I kid you not, I haven't written a single post about tooth decay or anything related to oral health or gingivitis.
What?
I know. I have nothing at all on any of my social media outlets about dentistry.
How about memes? Do you have any memes, dentistry memes?
No. In fact, I'm not a big fan of memes. I know that a lot of dentists are kind of stuck in a rut of not knowing what to post, so they'll put something humorous and they'll put a meme up. But I don't think that's what drives people to take action. We are all emotional shoppers. Yes, like we buy based on emotion. Like we don't. That's like one part of the brain, right? That I listen to a lot of podcasts and marketing. But anyways, I basically have documented everything from the very first day that we closed escrow, and I was here telling everyone that I was going to start on this new venture. And then I documented the first teardown, like when they bulldozed the walls down, and then I had our construction meeting, and I've documented the design process and just looking at different equipment and vendors. But for me, I just love telling a story. I think that's my I in my DISC profile. I love just knowing the backstory of what drives us. And I was also a psychology major as an undergrad. So I think that when we think of the dentist, the psychology of fear and just having so many barriers of entry via not knowing what to expect, not having insurances, like there are so many reasons why people are not taking action and giving us a call. So why not let them in on the backstory? So I shared my struggles. I shared what it was like raising 2 little boys and trying to get this office up and running. I shared my story about being a female in this industry and feeling mom guilt for wanting to have practice ownership when I theoretically could take a 2 to 3 day associateship and spend more time with my boys. And I shared how I almost lost this building, we actually closed escrow because I was finding every excuse in the book of why it didn't make sense to do a startup in a competitive market. So I shared my highs and my lows. I cried on camera a few times, not on purpose, but it just happens when you're being honest and truthful about who you are and why you're doing what you're doing. So anyone who listens to Simon Sinek, start with why. Like they want to know why you're doing it, and that's what people buy into. So I've had no problem even over telling my story. I don't think that it's something, embarrassing to tell people that you're fearful about starting this venture. And it's a very public proclamation of something that could theoretically fail. This is a startup in California, in a very saturated part of California. But I was willing to take that leap of faith because I think it's awesome to be able to share my story with people who could eventually learn from my mistakes. So I think it's been amazingly encouraging that I have been receiving text messages and Facebook messages and Instagram direct messages from dental students and dentists telling me that they've been watching me and how I'm inspiring them, which is crazy. Like I never thought that I was going to be any kind of motivational, image at all. But I think it's awesome if I can share my struggles with someone and that could helpfully give them the courage to do something like this in their part of town. More power to you. I really hope that women take that leap of faith too, because I think it's awesome when you see more women as practice owners.
100% agree with that. I know we know, and I'll be honest with you. Sorry for the guys out there, but the women who are in this industry, they can kick some butt. I'll tell you. So we have quite a few female clients, and they're the real deal. They are much better at handling conflict than a lot of my guy clients are, and I feel like a lot of it's because of kids. They're used to handling the kids, and a lot of the times the issues that come up in dental practices are people issues, and
right.
you gotta treat. And usually, it's a lot of times it's staff, to be honest with you, and
right.
That's a little bit like taking care of your kids. So what is next? What is up on the horizon for Smile & Company?
So we have our grand opening party, the official grand opening, on October 6th, which is in 2 weeks. And honestly, I am busy training my team. Whenever we have any kind of downtime, I plan on going out into the community, into just meeting the local neighbors and giving them treats and maybe handing out brochures, and just making this a very welcoming environment so that there's no intimidation when you come to the dentist. So that is what is next. It's just getting everything where I need it to be in terms of running a systems-based practice and taking it one step at a time. Like I know that my husband can attest to this. I want everything to be perfect 100% of the time. But when you're starting out, there's going to be things that fall through the cracks. So I'm hoping that we can figure stuff out now so that everything can be flawless in the next couple of weeks or months. And I want this to be like a place that just feels completely different from any other dental practice that you've experienced. So we're going to meet on a daily basis with the team. Like I'm really big on team meetings and just self-development and training. And I find that in a lot of the practices where I associated, either the team members aren't given adequate training, or there's no systems or checklists in place, or they just don't feel appreciated. So those are the things that I want to focus here at Smile & Co. I want my team to know that I have their back no matter what, and because I take care of them and they take care of our patients. So that is what is next.
Love it. So, I usually ask people, if you had to start all over again, what would you do as far as starting a practice nowadays? You just started one. I'm not going to ask you that. What I'm going to ask you is over the last couple of years, if you could do something over again, and this is, talking about those experiences that you've had, from sharing with others that may learn from your mistakes. Do you have anything that sticks out as something that you would want to pass on to all the listeners of, big mistakes that you may have made, or things that you would have liked to have done in a different way, or anything like that?
Oh my gosh, so many. So as an associate, I would show up to work and then I would leave after my last patient was done. If I could turn back the clock, I would sit and observe the front desk. I would learn more about billing and just insurances in general, and maybe ask if I could sit in on team meetings. Those are the things that you don't know as an associate. You don't necessarily see the books, and that's, so I am horrible at bookkeeping, quite honestly, Jonathan. Don't hurt me. It's just something that
somebody ring the alarm. There's an alarm.
I know. So I would definitely focus more on the nuts and bolts. I tend to be the visionary and the dreamer, but I need to know all of the stuff that makes the dentistry actually happen, right? So I would say, if you are an associate now, as much as possible, learn what AR is, learn the proper ways to send out claims so that insurances actually accept or approve your request for funding, and start reading a lot about every kind of businesses. So I started late in the game with audiobooks, but I think it's late in the game since I graduated 8 years ago. But I know that there are so many dental students who are already privy to these amazing podcasts, such as this one, and all the other free resources. Utilize your free time. I know in dental school you find, or you think, you have no free time whatsoever, but that's not true. You still have time, even when you're commuting to and from class, to download an audiobook or listen to this podcast and all the other resources that are available to you. So that's what I would definitely do differently. And if you are thinking about a startup, as soon as possible, start getting all of your insurance contracts in place. So I am running into that problem now as we speak. I'm still not officially contracted with quite a few, so it's been rather frustrating. So give yourself some lead time, and then document. Don't be afraid of social media. Don't be afraid of going live. Don't be afraid of looking dumb, because you know what? We all look dumb at one point or another. But if people can watch your story and they can resonate with your highs and lows, they are more likely to follow you. So that is my piece of advice.
I love it. So, Dr. Ashley, if anyone ever wants to follow your story, where can they do that?
They can find me on Facebook at Smile and Company. I'm also big on Instagram, also at Smile and Company. Or they can take a look at our website, smileandcompany.com. And if you want to reach out, just message me via any of those avenues, or you can email me at Dr. Ashley, Ashley, at smileandcompany.com. dentistcompany.com, all written out.
Awesome. Well, Dr. Ashley, thank you so much for being on the podcast. It's been a pleasure. All the best. And maybe we'll have another episode here in a year or so to talk about your first year of ownership.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. I would love to come back and revisit everything that's happened. And thank you again. Such an honor being here today, Jonathan. And thank you so much for the amazing information that you're providing to the dental community. It's podcasts such as this that has really opened up doors for so many of us. And I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
Well, thank you for being a friend and a listener. So guys, with that, we're going to sign out. Have a great day, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
And so that's it for today, Ambitious Dentist. Again, I'm Jonathan Van Horn, CPA and ABV. I'll see you next week with another world-class practice owner or consultant that will help you start your very own dental practice.